Hi everyone, it's Patricia from TarantulaHeaven.com. We have Miss Spidey, who's been active for at least a half hour now. What a joy to watch. She's a Chilean rosehair, and possibly because she's a Chilean rosehair, she's usually a pet rock, doesn't do much of anything, but today she is putting on a show for you guys, so enjoy it. It doesn't happen all the time. So today I wanted to share a little bit of research I found in terms of multiple uses that tarantulas have for their urticating hairs. Not even urticating hairs, I'm sorry, but just their hairs in general. They have all these different types of hair types, and they all have a very special job. This is not necessarily about the different types of hair, but it is about the different types of uses that tarantulas may have evolved their hairs for. So this research comes from the Journal of Natural History, and the findings come from a study that talked about a new hypothesis about why tarantulas evolved to be as hairy as they are. One of the things that they're saying is that it was a specific defense strategy meant to ward off predatory ants. Something very random about this was a quote from Dr. Alireza Zamani, who, I don't really know how this fits into the study, but they said that the predatory army ants actually, I guess, only target juveniles or like mid-age tarantulas, because what they did say was, observations indicate that army ants tend to ignore both adult tarantulas and spiderlings. So I guess they're just interested in a specific age group of tarantulas. This is quite interesting since army ants are known to attack and feed on a wide variety of arthropods. I think that's very interesting and random that there would be an age preference for the ants. And it's interesting that army ants, while predatory, I guess don't always act in this way. They've observed these ants going into the tarantula's burrow, gathering the food remains, and actually cleaning up the burrow, which actually helps the tarantula. However, sometimes some of the ants will attempt to attack the tarantula. And these attempts failed because of the stiff hairs that were on the tarantula's legs. So it's possible that the hair types that are on the tarantula's legs are a bit more bristly or stiff than the other ones, perhaps even more dense, I'm not sure. Zamani says, the dense hair covering the tarantula's body makes it difficult for the ants to bite or sting the spider. Therefore, we believe that the hairiness may have evolved as a defense mechanism. This hypothesis is supported by findings that many burrowing New World tarantulas cover their egg sacs with urticating hairs. So interesting, that's another use of urticating hairs that I wasn't aware of. Dr. Zamani goes on to say that tarantulas typically release these barbed hairs as a defense mechanism, deterring and sometimes even killing their attackers. Covering their egg sac with these hairs, however, effectively hinders the movement of small, injurious arthropods such as ants that might try to attack the eggs. That's quite clever. The tarantulas typically release these barbed hairs as a defense mechanism, deterring and sometimes even killing the attackers. They are saying that this may vary from species of tarantula to species, just because some species of tarantula do have dense, less dense or more dense body hair. The ones that have the less dense hair are obviously more vulnerable to things like predatory ants. A different article actually pointed out was another use for the hairs, not necessarily urticating hairs, but the tarantula hair in general, was that tarantulas can even be or go underwater and use their hairiness to trap air if they had to escape from a predator or hide for whatever reason. So I think that for me, I'm learning a bunch right now about just, I guess, how many uses or how many ways that tarantulas rely on this hair for, and that it might actually be a lot more complicated in structure and the way it evolved than we think. And it sounds like more research needs to be done, but I think it's really cool that they can go underwater because of this hair and possibly survive for a period of time. They can prevent themselves from being bit because of this hair not letting things like ants through. They can use the hair on their egg sac to keep ants away or anything else. I like learning about that because I think that when I learned about urticating hairs or tarantula hairs, it was pretty much limited to that, of like just tarantulas kicking off their hairs, and that was like the big thing, but likely not. and that is very cool to learn about. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next week for Tarantula Tuesday. Take care. Bye.